Yahoo! This time I'm reviewing another Super Famicom game that nobody talks about and is pretty uncommon here in Japan as well. Ball Bullet Gun, or as I call it, BB Gun. BB Gun is a very fun turn-based tactics game where you control a squad of cute chibi-style soldiers across 24 missions against either the computer or a second player to various goals such as freeing a prisoner, shooting down all of the cans, taking out the opponent's leader, first a flag, and more. Whilst 24 scenarios doesn't sound like much, the challenge ramps up both with your squad having fewer members than the opponent and the maps gradually expanding in size and scope, combined with a fog of war effect. Kaito has kindly dropped in to explain the fog of war effect with me. Kaito!
Yahoo, Saki. I'm back in costume, everybody.
Rad. So once again, Kaito can't see me, but I can see him because I have a better field of view, as I'm a sniper. So with a simple pull of the trigger...
Yes, Saki, what the hell was that?
Sorry. Thanks, Kaito.
Oh, phew. Oh, thanks, Saki. Oh, by the way, I won a new hat the other day.
Now that really is a soppy hat, and it does suit you. The fog of war effect means you can't see your enemy until they are within your squad member's field of view, which can be affected by the member types such as sniper versus attacker and the scenery in front of them. For example, a clear field of view versus bushes, desks or rocks. This really amps up the fun factor because not only do you need to strategize how to achieve the mission's goal, but you also need to take into account that you could stumble across the enemy or vice versa. Before finishing each player's turn, you need to consider, are they exposed to enemy fire, or can you mitigate this by tucking them behind a rock, or is attacking going to use up your action points or AP and leave you exposed because you can't move any further? Each squad member's AP determines the distance that each squad member can move in any given turn. This is affected by the terrain they cross, the weight of their weapon they're carrying, and so forth. There are so many little intricacies and variables that can change the outcome. For example, capture flag may prioritise quick movement over heavier rapid-fire weaponry. And some teams you face may be more proactive in trying to achieve the mission's goals, such as shooting down all of the cans, whereas other teams will only defend their position. Even though BB Gun's presentation is cute and endearing and the settings are sometimes whimsical, the weapons in the game are actual real weapon names and types, although the game is simulating airsoft more than anything when it comes to the attacking. And listen to those footstep sound effects. They may help you clue into where the enemy is before they enter your field of view. Talking of weaponry, each class of character can use different classes of weapons, except your squad leader, who can use any type of weapon class. Snipers get long-range rifles, attackers get assault rifles, but all classes have access to blades and most have access to handguns for close range and melee combat. Different weapons have different efficacies in distance and successful hit rates, and different rates of fire. Shotguns, for example, can have multiple successful hits per round. But beware, an effective weapon could use up more AP per turn than a slightly less effective weapon. And on top of that, each weapon has different capacities, which can be recharged, but that requires you using your AP during that player's turn. For such a cute looking game, this game really doesn't lack intricacy and substance, but it's easy to learn and gradually understand all of the variables that play. Another good example is that each squad member has an A to E grade on their attack and evasion efficacy, and this combines with each weapon having different efficacies at different distances. Balancing all of this out takes time, but the game's earlier easy missions both give you a challenge and help you learn all of these mechanics. By the time you get to the normal stages, some of those missions can take an hour or so to play each. There are some other neat things in this game that I want to mention. You can ace missions and one of your team members will get a boost to their stats. And sometimes the enemy team members may defect to your squad, boosting your overall squadron. Some of you may have already clued into this, but because BB Gun doesn't have a story, this makes it much more of a pick up and play style of tactical strategy game, giving it immediacy that allows you to play a mission and then put it down. This is great if you're time poor, as this game is battery backed up, meaning your progress is always saved, and there is even a very modern quick save that allows you to pick up a mission where you left off midway through. Because say you had to run the kids down to their soccer match or had a skate contest that you had to take part in. Rad, huh? The one downside is versus the computer. During the computer's turn, you can't see their moves, just a text description of your squad's reaction. And if a computer-controlled member finds you, you'll see them firing and how it affects you. But the computer can take its sweet time moving, meaning you could be looking at this screen for a minute or two sometimes. It's helpful, but you can't skip it. Maybe an option to skip this and see the outcome in a summary screen might have been good. In two-player mode, this screen is replaced with a necessary look away now moment until your opponent has finished their turn. Now let's talk about the Japanese level in this game. First, there is an English translation patch, but on this channel I play games as is. Why? Because I want to answer, can you play this game with zero Japanese, or if you're learning the language, what level is it? I rate this game as conversational on my grading scheme, but that's just because it uses some expressions common in Japanese, but not often taught in earlier levels of Japanese courses such as a JLPT and Mina no Nihongo. Some of the kanji featured as well is quite high level, but for those of you with no Japanese, you can absolutely play this game as so much the user interface is actually in English. The only bits you won't understand are the mission goals and your squad members' conversation. On Patreon via a link in the video description, I have translated the mission goals so you can understand this game and get stuck into it. This is a great game for learners as it helps you reinforce your knowledge and add some useful new vocabulary. For those of you who want to find out more what I mean by conversational, see the link in the video description where I explain the various levels of Japanese grading that I use in this channel. So, how do I rate this game? Well, this is a great game. It genuinely is a game that doesn't get enough attention and is so enjoyable and replayable. It really is absolutely worth your time. Had this game had procedurally generated missions, this could have really taken it into a whole new league of replayability. But what is here is a game that those outside of Japan really missed out on. I literally have no idea why this game has flown so under the radar, so to speak. In terms of this game's availability in Japan, it's pretty uncommon. Loose copies are very far and few between, and box copies are rarer still. The only box copy I've ever seen here was in Nagano City, and it became part of my rubbish heap. Whichever way you find to play this game, I recommend that you give it a shot. Oh, well, nobody laughed at my jokes, but I amuse myself with them. As always, like, subscribe and all of that shit, and also check out this rad Rubbish Heap merch, available worldwide on Redbubble and Amazon. See the links below for how to purchase. I've been Saki Endo, and this has been a Rubbish Heap. Ja ne ne!